Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia and this is my applied assignment number 2, observation post reflection. What I plan to do and why. For this second applied assignment, I went with doing the observation option. I conducted the observation on Monday, 11/18 in the KPA2 classroom, which consists of 4 and older 3-year-old children in a childcare facility where I currently work at as a pre-K teacher in the KPA2 classroom. My observation was done at the beginning of the day from 8:45 to 9:15 a.m. At this point of the classroom routine, the children finished up breakfast and were in open centers free play. At the start of the observation, there were 8 children in the classroom. There is a total of 13 kids enrolled. One teacher, Mr. Ramon, who is not bilingual. One dual language learner, Luis. He is 3 years, 10 months old. He is a boy. His home language is Spanish. When Luis was enrolled, his parents notified me and the director that Luis spoke and understands Spanish and understands little English, and they wanted him to learn English. The areas topics I wanted to watch for during the observation were how the dual language learner was being supported in language development and the interactions between himself, his teacher, and his peers. I also wanted to see what accommodations were made for the dual language learner by the teacher, if there was any provided. Some of the things I already knew about the topics I would be watching, paying attention during were that positive teacher child interactions encourage language development. Using open ended questions is a great way to get children to engage in conversation with their teacher and peers. When working with dual language children, it is beneficial to know 10 to 20 survival words in their home languages so that the teacher is able to know the needs of the child. My knowledge about the topics I plan on watching for come from attending workshops and trainings through work, being in the field for over 13 years, and other early childhood education courses I have taken. What I hope to learn from this observation is the dual language child being is the dual language child being supported in the classroom? What could the teachers in the classroom could do to help them to effectively support the dual language learner, and what can the teacher incorporate into the classroom routine schedule, learning materials, and curriculum to support the development of the dual language learner? For this section of what I did, my evidence, I just shared on my PowerPoint some of my observation notes. So I'll go from the top left corner down into a circular motion. So some of the things that I observed, some of my notes are: teacher approaches Luis and 2 other kids playing together. Teacher, is everything okay, Luis? He points to the 2 kids. Teacher, can you use your words and tell me what happened? Luis continues to point at the kids. Teacher, do you need words to use? Can you say, please stop, I don't like it? Luis repeats. Teacher, can you say, please stop? Looks back at teacher. Luis places cars in a row and counts in Spanish while pointing to each one. He counts faster than the actual number he is on, 5, when he is actually pointing to the 3rd car. Luis sitting at a table with magnetic connectors. Teacher, wow, Luis, tell me about what you built. Asking in English and then in Spanish, and Mr. Ramon had to utilize his Translate app on his iPhone. Luis robot. And Luis finally responded to Mr. Ramon's questions when he heard what Mr. Ramon asked in Spanish on the phone. Teacher, what does your robot do? Luis, bigger. And he replied in English. Playing with another child B. Look at this, pointing to a poster with shapes, child B. Look at circle. Louis points to circle shape, says circle, circle while moving his left pointer finger in a circular motion. Child A, give me car, okay? Louis, no, give me car. His eyebrows are squished together. While reaching for the card the child took, Louis then grouped some cards between his arms and chest. Child B tries to take a card. Louis frowns and his eyebrows squish together, saying, no, no, no. Luis approaches teacher. Luis says baño, which is bathroom. Teacher, Luis, do you need to go to the bathroom? Luis, sí, baño. Yes, bathroom. Teacher, can you say, teacher, I need to go to the bathroom? Luis looks at his teacher and walks to the bathroom. What I learned. I learned that being objective in a formal observation is a lot harder when you're the one conducting the observation on a child. But the one thing I remembered was keeping my interpretations out of my notes and focusing on what I saw and heard. By doing this, I would be able to create a more solid picture of the skills the child is showing me as expressed in clearing your view, staying objective in observation. During the observation, I learned that Luis needs more support in the classroom that will support his home language of Spanish and the English language. And by doing this observation, I gained information to hopefully help guide me and Mr. Ramon's interactions with Luis in effective ways that promote building and supporting strong teacher-child relationships. What I learned from the article 3K Third Challenging Common Myths About Dual Language Learners states, common sense suggests that the more time children spend listening to and speaking English, the more rapidly they will master the fundamentals of the English language. From doing this observation, I gained an understanding that the more a child is exposed to the English language, the faster they will understand the fundamentals of it is not true, but rather it is more beneficial for the child to be supported in the home language and in the English language. This is more effective in language development and they are more successful, and that the dual language children benefit cognitively and socially from this. Lastly, I learned that it is important to incorporate children's home languages and cultures into the classroom to support language development and to help them make connections. Knowing 10 to 20 survival words is a great way to make the child feel welcomed, comfortable, and helps them to communicate their basic needs. And providing labels in the classroom in home languages and in English is a good way to support language development. And having posters, books, and signs that also help language development. So having a variety of material in the home languages of the dual language children in our classroom. For my continued inquiry, observations are a part of working with young children, and we are constantly doing them. Observations are very beneficial for educators because it helps us to make important discoveries about children, to learn more about them as individuals, to see how they respond to other children and adults, or to see what tasks are easy for or challenge them, and to learn more about how they share their needs and wants. And this I learned from the article, Look at Me Using Focused Child Observation with Infants and Toddlers. Wasn't an article, but the video. And I also got a better insight to what Luis needs support in and how I can effectively support him in the classroom. Some of the questions I do have for my peers. If you have ever conducted an observation in an ECE setting, what was the most challenging part of it? How often should educators conduct an observation on a DDL child or children to see their progress in the classroom? And my last question I have is, what changes have you made to your teaching skills and learning environment after gaining information from an observation.